We are back with Irv Hoffman and Lance Block. Irv's 23-year-old daughter was killed on a drug bust after she signed up to become a confidential informant. Lance is the attorney who says police have no business allowing college kids to risk their lives doing the job of a trained officer. Joining us now is a narcotics detective who believes in the program and actually recruits young adults to participate. Please welcome Detective Brian Sallee. Tell me, Brian, why you are a proponent of this program. Why do you think it's good?
I've seen firsthand in my 35 years as a police officer, 26 years working narcotics, the good that informants do. Informants are able to get us into places that we couldn't get into. They are able to give us information about the drug trade we wouldn't know because these people are involved in the drug trade. So these adults are involved in it. I may have to work weeks watching a drug house to establish my probable cause, but I can take my informant and go in 5 to 10 minutes, have my probable cause. So these people, because of the knowledge they have of the drug trade and cooperating with us voluntarily, and this is all a voluntary basis, really help us make an impact and try to take violent criminals off the street.
But Brian, do you think it's voluntary when you've got a scared kid and you're telling them that they may face prison time if they don't do this, and you're not advising them to talk to her? How is that voluntary? It feels to me almost like they are a tool for you all, and they're expendable.
No, these are people. These are adults. They understand what's going on. No threat should ever be made against them. I believe in wholeheartedly telling them the truth of what they're facing, and it's their decision. Consequences either ways. They have the choice on what they're going to do.
Well, then why don't they have the choice, Brian, to call a lawyer or to call their parents? Why don't they have that choice? And I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to understand, because if it were my daughter, it was Irv's, if it were mine, I would sure want that phone call.
We never tell them they can't talk to anybody until after they've decided to work for us. Once somebody, I understand, once somebody decides to work for us, we tell them, okay, this is for your safety, because if you start telling people, the more people that know about it will make it dangerous. So we talk to them about what they do for their safety.
Brian, what you're not telling us is that this is really about statistics. The more arrests, the greater the funding. And billions of dollars are handed out by the federal government, by grants, state and local government. And that's really, it's money that's driving the use of civilians to do the most difficult type of police work. I mean, you know as well as I do, Brian, that we don't use civilians to write parking tickets or direct traffic, but we've got them out doing the most dangerous type of police work going undercover.
Go ahead.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm going to tell you, I work and live in my community. It's not about statistics. It's about impacting the community, doing the best job I can to make things as safe as possible for the area. While people will talk about, well, these are just small-time drug dealers, the drug cartels would not exist if we didn't have the small-time drug dealers, because the small-time drug dealers getting their drugs from mid-level dealers who are getting it from larger-level dealers. And we have to attack at every angle of the drug.
Go after the drug cartels, but not Rachel Hoffman.
I'd like to get Irv have a chance to talk.
I just want to say that, how about people with addictions? Are they criminals, or do they need addiction treatment?
I'm a firm...
You know, I'm sure everybody here has or knows somebody that has a friend that has an addiction problem. Are they an addict or are they a criminal? That's what I'd like you to know. I'd like to hear that.
I believe in rehabilitation.
It doesn't seem like you do. You put everybody out on the streets to do your work.
No.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Well,
you give them a choice, but you know what? They're afraid. They're scared. If you're 23 years old and you're told you're going to go to jail for 4 or 5 years, or you're going to do this and we'll make it all go away, what are you going to do?
It's their option and their decision as an adult. And I understand you're saying that they're scared, but I'm telling you that they can go out, and these informants, for every tragedy that we hear about...
They're not trained to do police work, Brian.
What training do they get, Brian?
They don't get training. Let me define training, though. Training is knowing what to do and why you legally need to do that. What we teach and tell our informants is what to do. We give them directions. We say, this is how you need to go do the operation. That will be the legal and safest way that we can do it.
It doesn't always work that way, Brian. I respectfully disagree with you. It doesn't always turn out
It didn't work that way for Rachel.
Don't get it? Brian, let me finish. These are people with families. People love them. They can't tell anybody. They're scared. They're afraid. They don't want to go to jail. They want to continue with their lives. They're people. They're human beings.
I understand that tragedies happen, but I can also tell you for every tragedy we've had, including the loss of undercover and detectives and police officers because of the drug crime element, but for every one that we've had, there are tens of thousands of cases that our informants have helped us do and make and take violent criminals off of the street.
So is Rachel collateral damage in this
No,
war?
it's a tragedy.
Well,
it was a tragedy. It was a tragedy.
But it was a tragedy of the police
It was
is
a
doing.
tragedy of a lot of things that happened in that case.
What? Brian,
And I want to do things as best as possible. I don't want to have anybody hurt. I don't want to have anybody killed. I don't want to lose people. I want to take violent criminals. I think back in my career of a drug dealer that did a drive-by shooting and killed a 2-year-old kid because he hit the wrong place. I wish I'd have had some good informant that could have got me into that drug dealer because I couldn't get into him because we had tried. If we had an informant that could have gotten into him, maybe we could have prevented that. But I know that the work my informants have done and informants have done all over the country have prevented and taken violent criminals off the street.
Brian,
there are
do you have children yourself?
Yes,
you
I do.
Would you allow any one of them to be an informant?
I give this answer.
Confidential informant?
I give this answer every time. My children are adults. I would never recommend this as a career path for anybody. But I see the option as something that this person can maybe do something. And if nothing had ever happened in Rachel's case, which unfortunately it was tragic, but then she would have avoided having the stigma of having this arrest. I see the advantage of their not having this and can move forward.
I could live with Rachel being in jail. I always assured Rachel that you have to be responsible and accountable for your actions. I could live with her being in jail, but I can't live with her death.
I think we could.
And I understand that. But like I said, for every tragedy, we have tens of thousands of cases we'll never hear about because everything went fine.
And we'll never,
things were saved.
Yeah.
And we know that good, hard, violent career criminals were taken off the street, and our streets are made
I just
safer.
wish it didn't involve our young people. But Brian, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Lance. Thank you. I think it's important, wherever you are in this country, to find out about confidential informants in your area. Learn as much as you can about it.